Hey, everybody. Welcome to Double Shot of Pirates. I'm Dejan Kovacevic. He's Chris Halleck. And down there in our Bradenton FLA box is Jose Negron standing at Pirate City, right to where the four fields can be entered. Let's see where he is. What happened down there today, Jose?
Well, I think the biggest thing was, the fact that Paul Skenes threw another bullpen session, through two more live BP sessions. And when Paul Skenes throws, people come to watch. And that was the biggest kind of, not the biggest takeaway, but kind of the thing that caught my attention was, I had to turn around. I obviously tried to get my spot in order to get a view of him, firsthand of him going up against Joe Stinson, Garcia, and Spencer Horwitz and Nick York. Then I turn around, and I see all the fans lining up, and I on both sides, trying to get a good look at it, and not just the fans, but the players. We've talked about the excitement and the energy around camp, and Don Kelly's talked a lot about the players just. They're gathering around. They want to see guys, when they throw their bullpens, they want to see guys hit during BP. And it seemed like all the players were just as interested in seeing Paul throw. A couple other guys obviously were able to throw some live BPs and take some hacks too. So a lot of eyes, I guess, on who was throwing here today.
Well, I understand why the players would be studying it, because it's kind of like a video game. If you want to find out exactly how hard the video game is, you just turn the difficulty all the way up, and then you play it, and you're like, okay, well, it can't get any harder than this. Players could just watch Paul Skenes pitch, be like, well, it's not going to get any harder than that. So if I can figure out how to at least make contact, or figure out how to hit against Paul Skenes, then I can hit almost anybody in baseball. So I understand that. But Jose, one thing, how long did it take for you to get just Stinson's pronunciation correct when it comes to his first name? Because I think a lot of people will still just refer to him as the password because they don't even want to try.
I've been working at this all off season. This has been my biggest success of the off season, is not only being able to pronounce it, and I figured out a way to pronounce it, and I can explain it here to you. Just think of the character Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, and it's his brother Joe. There you go. That's how you pronounce it.
Joe
Yeah,
Stinson.
that's how I've remembered how to pronounce it. And you know what? I think the second biggest success is the fact that I have now figured out a way to spell it. And that's incredibly
It's
important.
much harder. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's much harder because there's just random letters in there, and things that just shouldn't be going
X's
on.
and-
Yeah, there's where'd that X come from? So yeah, it's been a difficult journey to get here, but we've gotten here. I'm working on the speed in which I'm typing his first name. That's getting better as well. So we're making some progress.
How do you look, Garcia?
Yeah, I mean, being able to
match up. Tell us. We want to hear this too.
Yeah, I mean, as we kind of talked about yesterday with, guys taking swings and stuff like that. I mean, we talked about Connor Griffin only taking a few swings against Bubba Chandler, during the live BP. Garcia swung it a few times, and, he swung through some heat from Paul Skenes. During his one at bat, I believe he struck out on 3 pitches, and he swung through all 3 of them. So, and that's just what Paul Skenes does. It's tough to kind of, say that's, on Garcia this early in camp. But, he saw him, shag some fly balls, saw the arm strength. Obviously, that's a big plus for him as well, seeing that arm strength in the outfield. So, he's a guy who, he discussed this morning about the fact that he's worked all off season really on, pitch decisions. And the plate discipline is obviously something that is, I'd say, a concern. The chase rate and things like that have kind of hindered him throughout his minor league career, and even in the short major league stint that he had last season. The power is real. We've heard about it, and being able to see it in batting practice as well. But batting practice is one thing. You got to see it actually on the field. But he's an encouraging prospect, a guy that they brought in because, I mean, he was a top 100 prospect last year. They needed some power, and he has that potential. So we'll see where it goes, and obviously motivated to potentially win a job, whether it's, I don't see it really being a starter coming out of spring training, but winning some type of opportunity on this roster.
He has to beat out Jack Sawinski.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, let's just say that what it is. He has to beat out somebody who hit a $111 last year or whatever that was, where Jack ended up sinking to. Love the kid, but my goodness, what a nosedive that's been since hitting 26 home runs. Let's talk about the outfield in general today, guys. Let's look at the absolutely, well, you would think cemented starters. Brian Reynolds is your only like really truly cemented starter out there. I don't even see Oneil Cruz as being that. I mean, he is at the outset, but I don't think you can withstand another 200 year from him, even if it comes with some pop. If you have Jake Mangum and he hits with the type of numbers that he did, he's not going to have anywhere near Cruz's power, obviously. And he lays out and dives and waves to and he's just like the most awesome guy in the world. Mangum is. I could see him being real early candidate for get him out there instead of Cruz. And then in left field, you've got,
I would say Ryan O'Hearn because you signed Marcell Ozuna, and you also have you have too many.
Yeah, you do,
of certain types of hitters.
Too many first basemen.
Well, yeah, that's true too. So,
but O'Hearn is out there if he isn't DHing, or it's the other way around. That's the only reason I said I think the one guy that's going to be a staple, like a fixture to the outfield, is going to be Reynolds. But is this outfield good enough, Jose? Is there enough there?
I mean, I think defensively it's going to be a struggle. I mean, we saw it alone with, Cruz and with Brian Reynolds last season. I think the addition of Ozuna definitely puts a wrench in things. I mean, we talked about, even with Andrew McCutchen, like it was hard to see a fit because of all the guys that needed to get at bats at the DH position. I mean, you talk about Ryan O'Hearn and, even Brandon Lau, a guy who, has, I believe, only played 110 or more games twice in a season in his career. So you got to get him some DH at bats. Spencer Horowitz, Brian Reynolds. You got to get Brian Reynolds in as a DH every once in a while. So it kind of makes things tougher. But then you look at putting Ryan O'Hearn in the outfield because Spencer Horowitz would if he plays at first. I in my mind and if you guys disagree, feel free to say so. But I think Ryan O'Hearn slots into right field, and you maybe move Brian Reynolds to left, and Jake Mangum's your fourth outfielder.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of how we feel about it, I'll tell you why I say that, Jose. I had a conversation probably about 100 feet from where you're standing now with a team executive. This was 2 years ago, and their internal metrics on Reynolds and his defending are not good. And this was back when we all thought Reynolds was really good defensively. Outfield defense is a tough thing for the naked eye to assess because there's route measuring, there's measuring of the distance from the crack of the bat to the time does he get the right jump off the ball and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Reynolds looked to all the rest of us like he was Mr. Solid out there. Why? Because he doesn't drop the ball. Like literally drop. He doesn't literally drop the ball. And they were feeling something else entirely. And they treat internally left field at PNC Park like center field. And half your games are there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they would move Reynolds.
Yeah, and I think even if, O'Hearn in my mind is going to slot in the outfield regardless. Like I think that outfield is going to be, for the most part, Reynolds, O'Hearn, Cruz, Mangum maybe as your fourth outfielder. Obviously, Cruz is a type of guy. He's working to get better against left-handed pitching, but he's probably not going to get as many at bats against left-handed pitching when the games start to matter. So you would think Jake Mangum will get some opportunities to be in the lineup. If he can continue what he was able to do offensively last season, and he's a solid defender as well. Good base runner. If he could do that and he'd be a pretty solid fourth outfielder as well. So yeah, I'd say defensively it doesn't look ideal, but there are some good bats out there.
Yeah, that's the other aspects of this, which is that if Reynolds gets back to 23, 24 home runs, if Cruz ... You know,
That's who I wanted to talk about was
Cruz. Cruz can hit 50 if he wants. You know, not so much if he wants, but if he's not batting 200, you know, if he's making more frequent contact than that. And O'Hearn, we've seen the power history. Now, we've also seen players come to Pittsburgh. I know some of them will blame the ballpark, but it's mostly the instruction and management and so forth. Can you get what's a good number here? 60 home runs out of this group? I mean, Cruz, I think, can hit 20 by accident. He can be terrible and hit 20. He was terrible and hit 20.
That's what they say. Like when you look at Oneil, I covered an athlete before, an outfielder before, who was pretty polarizing in a very similar way to Oneil Cruz. I covered Joey Gallo.
Okay.
For the Rangers. He was as much of an all or nothing guy as you could possibly get. He was hitting a home run or he was striking out.
All right.
But he also provided Gold Glove defense and literally won a Gold Glove for his defense. Now, what if Oneil Cruz can at least do that? Okay, he bats 200. Okay, that sucks. What if he hits 40 home runs and provides elite Gold Glove level defense? Can you deal with the 200 average at that point?
Jose, you take a stab at that one.
If he's stealing 40 bases a year too, you know, that adds to it as well.
He's probably not hitting 200 guys if he's doing either of those things. I mean, there's only so many Kyle Schwarbers on the planet, you know?
He did come. I mean, he came close to 40 stolen bases last year, hit 200. And, you know, I mean, I think Oneil Cruz is the most interesting player on this team. And I think this is such an important year for him because you look at what he's been able to do this offseason and everything that I've even heard before we got here to Bradenton, Florida, was that he really worked to work on his defense, to work on, you know, left on left. I mean, yesterday he himself requested to face Mason Montgomery in a live BP just so he can get more reps against left-handed pitching, which is huge. I mean, that's very important. He made some strides in 2024. I think he might have hit 224 against left-handed pitching. Last year was 102. Like, that's just unbelievably bad.
That's unplayable.
Yes.
That's again. Let's keep throwing strays at Jack here, but that's Jack. You get to the point where no matter how much they want to bring something out of you and how much they can convince themselves, well, if you just give him a few more reps, he's going to be fine. I need to see, and I know we can do every show on Cruz, okay, but Chris started it, so I need to see something more than a haircut. Okay, I need to see something different that's in his mannerisms, the way. Not that he needs to not be himself and not express himself and all that other stuff here. I need to see additional signs of intensity and investment and understanding that the objective of the game is not to get to the home run derby. Okay, the objective of the game is not to show off that, you know, you hit it further out into the Allegheny than Ryan Howard did 15 years ago. The objective of the game is to contribute to your team winning. So when you go up there into the box and you've got guys all over the bases and you're trying to hit and there's nobody out and you're trying to hit the ball to the moon, I don't want to see it anymore. Now I can say that, but then I can also throw it right back at the management and coaching staff and say, is there anybody that ever stresses with any player on this team? Take something off it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it in play. What are you doing? Does every swing have to be for the moon?
Well, that's kind of where baseball is nowadays.
It doesn't have to be.
No, I understand that. Trust me, there are a lot of trends in the game of baseball that I don't like. And this just might be, you know, two old men yelling at clouds here about it, but I don't like the fact that starting pitchers are giving literally everything they have on every single pitch. That's why you don't see starting pitchers go further than 6-7 innings in a game anymore.
It's also why you're seeing them get hurt.
Well, yeah, that too. But then you're talking about hitting. It's all about the absolute outcomes. And again, I after I toss it to you on that, I pulled up Joey Gallo's numbers from 2021. This is as much of an listen to this. He led Major League Baseball with 111 walks. He led Major League Baseball with 213 strikeouts. He hit 38 home runs. He played goal. He won a Gold Glove, was named an All-Star, and he batted 199. But his on-base percentage was 351.
Yeah, I was going to say Cruz's wasn't.
No, and see, that's the thing, is that Cruz is going to have to find a way to do something, whether it's improve the batting average, whether it's improve your ability to draw walks, whether it's steal more bases, which he led Major League Baseball, or at least the National League in stolen bases last year. It's do something. Find a way to do something where you elevate your game. That has to happen from Oneil Cruz.
For all our references to batting average, Cruz's on-base percentage was 298, which is nowhere near good enough. His slug was 378, which is hilarious considering his natural power. And his OPS was 676. Tell us what you're seeing, Jose. I mean, if you've had a chance to speak with him yet, ideally without the interpreter, have you seen him, look any different on the field other than the lack of dreads?
Yeah, I mean, his swing looks good, which is one thing, when it's in BP, and another thing when it's in meaningful actual games. But swing looks good. I saw him working with Tony Beasley yesterday in the outfield, which was really awesome to see. I think Tony Beasley can do wonders, and this is a guy in Oneil Cruz who he worked with Kevin Kiermaier during the offseason as well, at least recently, on his outfield defense.
Phenomenal former outfielder.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Kiermaier, talked about the fact that really it's kind of the mental thing with Oneil Cruz. If he can get past the mental aspect of it, he has the tools. Like everybody knows, Oneil Cruz has the tools not only to be a good defender but to be a really good hitter. It's just a matter of putting it all together. But from a defensive perspective, I mean, being able to see him, work on first step quickness and in the outfield, being able to, it's all about the decision making. I think for him, it's making those quick decisions in the outfield, knowing where to throw the ball whenever it's hit. Just knowing the situation. Not being absent minded out there. Just knowing that you're still in the game even if the ball hasn't been thrown yet. So a lot of things that I think he can work on. And I really like the fact that he was out there working with Beasley and if somebody can, you guys have talked about how much of an impact that Tony Beasley can have.
He's the man.
He's
awesome. Person he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So being able to see players work with coaches like that, it's cause for there to be, maybe something can change here. I know it's been a couple years of the same thing. We're always talking about the same thing. Like, will he turn the table? Like, will things change for Oneil Cruz, not just defensively, but from an offensive perspective too? Maybe that's why I say it's a huge year for him this year.
Well, let's take a couple of questions from people who've become members of our DK Pittsburgh Sports Pirates channel here on YouTube. And by the way to do that, you can look at the bottom of our video screen here and see that you go to dkps.net/join pirates, join pirates being one word. I type that into your browser and you'll come up with everything that you need there. Michael Bobrick asks, when is Cruz due for a contract extension? You cynic, Michael. No, but he's an arbitration guy. He's headed into arbitration 2 next year. So it's not, you're thinking of it like football, Mike. Arbitration it's year to year until you get to free agency. But as you get closer to free agency, you're also getting closer to 30. Okay.
And it gets more expensive in arbitration too.
Yeah. And people talk about Cruz like he's still a child because he kind of has that personality about him. 27. I don't want to hear about his mentors anymore. He's 27. Is money going to be a motivator for somebody like Cruz? Sure it is. It is for everybody.
Yeah. I look at Oneil Cruz. I look at the fact that they have 3 more years of club control over him. Something's got to happen. I would even say something's got to happen probably this year, because then you're talking about arbitration being significantly more expensive. assuming baseball's
I was
played in
going to say
2027.
all of this is really
Yeah.
we have no idea what's going to be on the other end.
But either way, if anything, I would say it's important this year because whether baseball system is the same or not, and this is a completely different subject. I believe that if a salary cap is actually implemented, owners will give players a quicker path to free agency.
Yeah, you have to. They said. I mean, it's now stuff that I've been saying for years is now all of a sudden making it into headlines. That what they've been looking at for years is the NHL model. In the NHL, you have a much faster path to free agency. Taking questions from our members here. Our RVN fan says that Jake Mangum's addition sure seems underrated to this point. What's your impression of Mangum? Not so much in these 2 days, but just in general and what kind of impact he can have, Jose. Everybody knows he's this awesome dude.
Yeah, I mean, the energy that he brings, not just on the field, but off the field I think it's infectious. I mean, this is, I look at Jake Mangum from an on-field perspective as the type of guy who plays baseball the way that Pirates baseball needs to be played. Just playing with energy. It's not, you obviously want to have power in your lineup, but you also need guys who are going to do whatever it takes to get on base, do whatever it takes to take that extra base, play good defense. One of the quotes that kind of stood out to me that he's had, since he, was acquired in that 3-team trade with the Rays and the Astros was he said it's a game about 90 feet. Like that, the goal is always to get to that next base.
Baseball. They used to make it 2 words.
Yes, and that he takes that to heart, and that's his goal every time he's at the plate is to just make it hard on the defense, do whatever it takes. If he hits a ground ball to third or he hits a ground ball to short, he's going to give it all he has to first base and try to beat it out and make a play happen. He wants to get on base. He wants to make sure that the guys behind him have a job to do. So it's been encouraging to be able to see him, get on board. I actually plan on getting and be able to talk with him over the next day or two as well here. But so far, I mean, saw him take some BP. He's playing hitting some good balls and taking some good cuts. So I think I do think that he's an underrated part of this off season. I mean, you talk about the big bats.
Yeah, he had 1 year.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I understand it's a small sample, but
it was a really, really, really good year.
Yeah, but it's just the things that he's capable of. If he can repeat those steps and he can keep things the right way, he can be a pretty important piece.
The people who traded him are a lot smarter than the people who traded for him. And here's hoping that the people who traded for him might have gotten one right for a change. But I'll take the Rays front office over pretty much anybody anywhere. Some of you are coming in and saying that you've either become members or looking to become members. And one of the things that we like to point out on occasion is the quality of the work that's being done down in Bradenton by Jose, by Greg McAfee, by our staff as we take turns down there. And this was a video that was put together by Jose and Greg today on the rotation on the pitching staff, the homegrown nature of it.
The Pirates have prided themselves on growing guys here, and there's a vast majority of us, not really everyone, but there's a pretty good number of us that grew up or that came from high school as opposed to college. So you're in that environment where you're playing with guys you grew up with, known your whole life. And, in this group that we have this year, especially, it's a lot of guys that have spent a lot of time together in the minor leagues. Gone through a lot of hardships together, whether it's injury or whatever, and being able to have that, just that dynamic of, having an intimate relationship with pretty much everybody on the team, I think it bodes well whenever the team is having success because everybody celebrates for each other and with each other.
You know, I can see the path that they're on just because I was on the same one, so
Yeah.
I can help out in little ways here and there throughout spring and then throughout the season. It's really cool in my shoes to be able to do that and kind of see where everyone's been and where they're going to be going.
The coaches in the front office have done a great job developing these young pitchers and really allowing them to be themselves and to flourish. And one thing that we've continuously talked about is just competing against each other on a daily basis.
When you see the camaraderie, you can feel it, you know, and there's banter, it's fun, it's competitive, it's the things that really good pitching staffs do.
Can you do anything that I can do to help you? We all know each other pretty well from spring and stuff like that, but yeah, they're fun to watch, and I think tying all those guys together is going to be a pretty fun year.
There's that crowd around Skenes you were talking about, Jose. It's actually kind of funny that there's applause of any kind at Pirate City. It is a point of pride. These players have been talking about it for a while. Skenes, maybe more than anybody, about what it'll be like to have everybody be. They didn't come up together. Skenes he had a cup of coffee at every stop. Okay. and a couple others have, Bubba Chandler came through rather quickly here. Jared Jones came through quickly. But they do, as you heard both Jones and Ashcraft say, they do know each other. They communicate with each other. They've had an idea for a while that this was going to be the staff in Pittsburgh, haven't they?
Yeah, I remember back to the spring breakout game of 2024 down here in Bradenton. It was at Lecom Park. It was before Paul Skenes even made his major league debut. And the significance of that, Skenes going up against Jackson Holiday. And I remember asking Paul afterwards, I'm like, does this event kind of show you the pitching depth that you guys have and kind of like what's to come here in the future? Does that get you guys excited? And he said, we were talking about that the whole game. We were talking about the fact that, even after I come up, there's going to be, other guys to come for the next couple of years. There's going to be Jared Jones. That was before, Jared Jones even made his debut. So, there was Jared Jones, there was Bubba Chandler, there's Hunter Barco, Braxton Ashcraft last year made his major league debut. I know he got traded, but Mike Burrows, debuted at the end of the 2024 season. So a lot of really young arms that, came through this system and now, and honestly, one of my favorite people to interview for that feature here today was Mitch Keller, because he's a guy who was drafted 12 years ago in 2014. He was a second round draft pick, and he's seen guys come and go over the years. And now he's seeing the young guys that he's been able to watch, throughout the minors and things like that, be a part of the nucleus, be a part of this rotation and this pitching staff alongside him. So, for them, it's really cool to be able to do this all together. Like you mentioned, a lot of the guys haven't overlapped in terms of their times in the minors, but the camaraderie that they've been able to build and the success and obviously the ability that they all have is crucial to the success of this team.
And that is all the time that we have today. That is all the time that we have for this week. We've had now 3 of these programs, these double shot of Pirates. We haven't even really got started.
No,
this isn't even clearing the throat.
no, not even close.
But we're excited about it. Next week, I'll be down in Bradenton. You're going to be seeing me surrounded by some palm trees and stuff like that and everything else. And Chris is going to be back here going,
You're in your element there.
oh, yeah, I love Florida. Can't wait to get there.
It's warm.
But it's Florida. It's cold or warm at a red light. It's still a red light.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. When we will see everybody back here on Monday. And if you stay tuned with us here, but head on over to our Penguins channel. We got a whole bunch of hockey talk going on this afternoon for you. See you then.